Hey, my name is Joshua, and today I'll be teaching you how to do some basic video editing in Blender version 2.81. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to open Blender and you're going to click Video Editing under New File. After this loads up, you'll be at the video editing screen, and here at the bottom you have your timeline. This is where all of the strips are going to be. Strips are things like the videos, the audio things, and you'll be able to scrub through it and see everything. Over here you have your files tab. You'll be able to access all your files to drop into your timeline. Over here you have some rendering options. Here you have your resolution you can set for once you render it out. Here you can change the frames. You can also do that down here. You can also change the frame rate, but I wouldn't recommend touching that unless you know what the frame rate of your video is. Blender will automatically change that frame rate based on the videos you place in the timeline. Over here is your output. This is where the video is going to end up, where it's rendered. Right now it's going to be in the PNG file format, so it'll render out as a bunch of images for each frame, and you don't want that. So I always like to change that at the end right before render out the video. Down here you have some extra settings things will show up as you add different strips. Now to add the video that you want to edit, you go over here to click add. You can also press Shift A as a shortcut. So click add, go to movie, and you can look through your different files for different videos to put in. And I'm just gonna place in a random video that I made a while ago. So as you can see, I just added it in. It went ahead and added it at frame 0. I want to move it to start at frame 1 just because. So to move the frames, press G and then slowly slide it over until it goes to frame 1, as you can see. So the video starts right at frame 1, and you can see it moving around here. Now here you can see the strips right here. Here is the blue one is the audio file. The blue one is the video file, and the light blue one is the audio file. So a good thing that I always like doing for audio files is going over to the settings and pressing display waveform. This makes it easier to understand what is in the audio file. As you can see, here are the different places where it's kind of silent that you might want to cut out. Here's the video file. You can go ahead and name it to anything you want, just to make things easier as you're editing. You can name it main video, whatever you want. As you can see, it says the name right here. It says the file that it is in your computer, and here it says the amount of frames in that video. So this video is pretty long. It has 29,658 frames, and right here you can see that our frames ends at 250. So here is the ending point right here, and obviously we want it to end at the end of this video. So go ahead and click where it says end right there and place in however many frames are in that video. So there, now it should end where our video ends. Now if you want to watch this video, over here where the display view is, you can press this button right here, or you can press the space so you can watch it through, and to pause it you press the space bar again. Now for basic video editing. Now if you want to cut off pieces of your video, let's say there's like a really silent part that you don't want anymore, and you see this is just a weird part right here that I don't want in the final cut. So I go over to where the part is that I don't want, and I will select both of them. To select it, you right click or left click depending on what your settings are. And then to select the other one at the same time, you want to press Shift and select it. Now to cut it, you press K. As you can see, this splits the frames. So if you wanted to, you could select these and grab it with G and move it, but we don't really want to do that, so place it back. Now I want to go over to the end part of the scene that I don't want, so I will scrub forward until I get to here. So that's where I want it. I'll make sure they're both selected. I press K. And as you can see, this whole area that I don't want is selected now. So I will select both of these and then delete them. And now you can see that area is no longer there. Now they're all split apart and you have this empty part right here. So you want to go ahead and grab this part. Make sure you try not to select those arrows there. Those arrows, if you select them and grab them, it'll mess up. It stretches out the video, it doesn't actually move them. So you're gonna press G, and you're gonna now when you press G, then sometimes things like this happens, and if you don't want that to happen, press G and then press X. This will make it so it doesn't move up and down. And you can grab it over, and then if it's red, that's fine. You can just click and automatically snap it in place. So as you can see, it immediately goes to this new spot, to the new scene that we want to. Now, if you want to add maybe some text to the screen, you can go ahead and go to Add and press Text. As you can see, it doesn't really last that long, and it's kind of small. So to increase the length, we can either go to the settings over here and go to time and set the duration. But the easiest way is to just grab this arrow right here, press grab, and it'll stretch it out to the length we want it to. So we can put it over there. So now we want to go ahead and change the text. We can click right here where it says text, and we can type in whatever we want. So we can say by Joshua. Now it's really small, so we can go over to size. We can set it to maybe 50. That's better. We can set the color of the text to different colors. Maybe we can make it red to make it more spooky. We can change the location. Here we have the alignment. Right now it's aligned to the center and to the bottom. So we can drag these right here with our mouse. To change that, we can also drag this. Now if you want it more accurate, set both of these to 0. As you can see, it's you can set the alignment to both of them to be center. And then if you put 0, 5, 0.5, and 0.5, then it'll be right in the middle. And to change the font of this, because obviously that's kind of a boring font, you go over to up here where it says this F right here and click open, and it'll bring you over to where all your fonts are located on your computer, and you can scroll through and look for a font that you like. So I think this font looks pretty good, so I'm gonna press that and click open font, and you can see it changes right there. So as you can see, this video clip now has the text in front of it. As you can also see, the video kind of looked laggy at the beginning. And the reason why it's doing that is because the video isn't fully rendered out yet. It's doing all the math and stuff as you're watching it, which is why it's slow. When it renders out, it'll all be smooth, and it won't look like that. Now, also, when you are video editing, I recommend that you click this playback button right here and make sure it's set to AV sync. Because if it doesn't have any sync and your video starts lagging, then the audio won't be in sync with the video, and it'll mess your editing up. Now with your text, let's say you want it to fade out. You don't want it to immediately just disappear like that. You can select your text with right click or left click or whatever your settings are. You can find where you want it to start fading out, so let's drag this over to right here. And we go over to the settings for the text, over to where it says opacity. Now, right now the opacity is at 1, which means that you can't see through it. So we want it, so we're going to click I with our mouse over the opacity. So that sets a keyframe for the opacity of the text right there. Now we're going to put our little cursor over to the end. We're going to drag our opacity down to 0 and press I again. So that sets another keyframe. As you can see, the text fades out. You can use the keyframes for a lot of other things other than opacity. You can use it for the location. You can use it for the size. You can use it on other things such as the volume of the audio. You can use it for really most things that you can change. So that's very helpful for when you're video editing. Now let's say you want to go over to this part and add in an image right here. So you're going to click add, you're going to go to image/sequence, you're going to find a random image you have. Now as you can see, when you add it in, it looks odd and it just doesn't work. It doesn't look that good. So you're gonna go over, if you want to, you can scroll down to transform and you can click offset. So as you can see, it changes to its normal scaling. Now the reason why with offset off, the reason why it looks like that is because the image will stretch to the boundaries of whatever resolution that you chose up here. And since the image basically sizing was different, then it did that. Now when you click offset, if you don't see the picture in front of your video like it is right here, that's because your settings for the blend is probably on overdrop or something. But if it's not working well, I recommend setting it to alpha over. And if you want a more in-depth explanation of all these different blend settings, you can check the Blender wiki or just search it on Google. I can put a link in the description if you need it. Now if you want this image to be in a different spot, you can look down here and you won't really find many things, so you have to click the little arrow next to the offset, and here you can find the position. So now you can set the position to wherever you want it to. You also have this crop setting available, but we're not going to use that, so uncheck that. Now, so we want this image right here. Let's say we want it to be just a little longer, so we can grab that here. We can select the whole thing and move it over to here, just because. And we can do what we did before with the opacity and keyframe it so that it fades in and fades out. Now for fading in, you want it to start transparent, so you're going to go to the beginning, set the opacity to 0, press I for a keyframe, scroll a little forward, set the opacity to 1, and then press I. So as you can see, it fades in. And you can do what we did with the text for the fading out. So anyways, those are the basics of video editing in Blender. There's a lot more other stuff you can do. It looks complicated on the surface, but there's so many different things you can do with your videos, and you can make it look very professional. And it's a very good program, and it's all free. So if there's a certain feature that you need me to explain, let's say you want me to explain how to add slow motion effects using Blender, comment down below and I can make a new video for that. So thank you.